Okay, welcome to Model 2. We are going to work using our model that we made in the first assignment, Model 1, which is the pool building. So what I want to do first, I'm opening up my original model that I had created last week, and I'm gonna file save as, and I'm gonna say this is a new model. So let's go to, I'm gonna navigate to wherever I have my advanced online SketchUp folder, wherever you have a folder, and I'm gonna save this in a new folder under model for model 2, and I'm gonna call this time, I'm gonna say pool building, and I'm gonna call this for presentation. Save. That way we don't disrupt what happened to the first model, and we're able to use this model without worrying about changing anything and losing what we already had, because we're going to do some different things to this model. All right, first things first, let's set up some scenes so that as we move through this model, it's easier to move around. We don't have to hide things, turn them off, turn them on, all that stuff. Go ahead and pull up your window scenes window. If you're on a PC, I think it's in. I think you guys have trays now, which on a Mac we do not have. So it's going to look a little visually different to you. But just have your scene tray or your scene window up. And right now we don't have anything going on. It's just a nice clean blank slate. What I like to do when I'm working on a model, and I know I'm going to be working a lot on it, is I like to create a scene for myself that is nice and easy to see the entire model, basically like a zoom extents shot of it that I can always pop back to. I'm going to go ahead and hide my roof and hide the beams because I don't want to see those while I'm working unless I unhide them. Here's what's going to happen when you save a scene. I know we've gone over this in the fundamentals of SketchUp class, but you're going to see that when you pull up your scenes window, there are options here to either check or uncheck. For now, as we start working in scenes, you want to have all this checked because this is really controlling what it is that you're saving. So I'm saving, when I make a new scene, I'm saving the camera location, I'm saving what's hidden. So because I just hid those ceiling pieces, those will stay hidden when I make my scene. I'm also saving my visible layers, so if I have any layers turned off or on, whatever active section planes I have going, my style, my fog, which we're not really going to worry about fog as much, my shadow settings, and the location of my axes, which will stay the same throughout this whole model. So when I make a new scene by clicking on this plus sign here, this is the shot that I'm saving. I'm not saving a JPEG or still image. I'm really saving the location of the camera. So if I click on scene 1 again, it's just moving me right back into place. See, if I move around and I unhide that roof and then I move over to here, let's say I just get stuck in something and I think, you know what, I just want to get back to my scene 1. I can click on scene 1 and it's always going to take me as far out as the shot that I saved. I'm going to title scene 1. I'm going to call this perspective underscore working. That way I know that this is my working shot. I can pop back to this shot whenever I want. Okay, that's my working perspective. Okay, great. Now what I want to do is I want to establish just a few really simple perspective shots standing on the ground inside the pool. So let's create 4 views. Let's try it from all 4 corners, kind of mimicking some of the photos we have. So the easiest way to get yourself grounded is to select this little guy right here, which looks like a person standing on an X. That is the position camera tool. And wherever you click, it's going to actually put your feet on that spot and it's pulling you right in. Now notice that when I hold down on my left click, the cursor that's active now is an eye. So what this is doing, this is different from the orbit. It's a little disorienting at first. But it's different from the orbit in that my feet are locked to the ground and all that I'm moving is my head, or the virtual head of from where I'm standing. I can also control how high my vision is. So it defaults it to 5'6". If I wanted to get a really low version, like vision, let's say I was sitting at a table, I could type in 3 feet, and it's going to bring me way down low. But I like 5'6", so I'm just going to type 5'6", enter, and bring it back to that point. This will stay active until I set another tool in place. So this is going to be my view 1. One thing I want to do is I want to bring back that roof. So I'm going to click to my select to get out of that position camera tool, and I'm going to shift U to edit unhide everything. Now I can add a new scene, and I'm just going to call this scene view 1. Whoops, view 1, enter. Now I can go back to my perspective working. It's a little easier to go back to a shot by clicking up at the top here. So I'm going back to my perspective working shot, and I'm going to set a new camera, or position myself, I should say, in a new spot. This time I'm going to go down here kind of under where that spa was. I'm just rotating my vision around. And if I want to get a little bit more of a wider shot, I can also adjust my field of view. Try going to Camera, Field of View. Now click up, hold down on your left click and just pull it backwards and forwards. It's either flattening or expanding your model in terms of perspective. Mine is set to millimeters because I use a lot of film cameras in my models. Yours will probably be set to degrees. So just find something that looks a little bit better to you if it gives you a little bit wider of a view, and then right click and hit exit. So now I've got a little bit more of an expanded, tiny bit more of an expanded view. Let's go back with my position camera and click again in this spot. Okay, I can see much more of the shot now. Now I'm going to once again select and then unhide my roof. I'm going to add a new view, but I like to click on the view I just did so that when I add a new one, it's going to pop right below that. So instead of scene 3, I'm going to call this view 2. Okay, great. I also like to just click outside of this scenes palette because sometimes I will continue typing my shortcuts and they'll actually show up in the name section, which is not what I want. Now let's try this. We can also walk along the floor. This is a little bit trickier. This maintains the same eye height you already had, and it won't let you walk into or through things. It'll either have you walk over them. Like right now it's got me walking on the water itself. So this is kind of a quickie way to just move yourself into place and kind of start to establish a walkthrough of the model. Now I'll click on my eyes, which is my look around. This is that same cursor that I get to when I'm positioning myself in space. So I'm just using my eyes to zoom around, so it shows me that my eye height is still at 5'6". I'm going to add this as a new scene. So I'm going to call this view 3. And then I'm going to go to my select tool and click out in space. Once again, I'm going to start with my feet, just kind of turning, and I'm holding. This is one of the few tools that you actually hold down on the left click of your mouse. I'm just going to walk across the room. This takes some time and a little bit of patience and a little bit of practice. And again, you don't have to use this tool if you don't want. I just like to know what all these little tools are and what they do and how they can work to my advantage. Okay, so I'm going to set this view as my last view. So add a new scene, call this view 4, enter. Okay, let's close this scenes window down. Now I can look at my perspective working shot. I can look at my view 1, view 2, which expands the perspective a little bit, view 3, and view 4. Now in some of these views, you're going to go through some of the geometry. If you want to set more views to do a walkthrough, that's something we can do later on, and that'll avoid you kind of moving through that geometry. But for now, what I want you to do is I just want you to create a working perspective shot, something that you can always kind of pop back to and look at your entire model, kind of your zoom extents view, and then just make 4 basic views looking from corner to corner so that you get a nice sense of what's going on in this model. These views will be in place, and as you add to the model, as you create new geometry, these views will be exactly the same, and the new geometry will be in place wherever you want it to be.